You have just been invaded by...
Hey there guys, this is DJ Slope from Slope's Game Room, and you're listening to Slope's Cast, the retro gaming news show recorded live on Twitch on the 13th of April 2021. In today's show we're going to be chatting about Sonic Colors rumoured to come back, the latest Switch Pro rumours, the brand new Pac-Man 99 game, a lost Castlevania game is now found on the Dreamcast, Balan Wonderworld flopping in Japan, and Alex Kidd's awesome looking remake, and our opinions on the crypto-heavy Atari. All of that on today's episode with my co-host Grizzly Crichton. If you like the podcast and you want to be in for a chance to be on a future episode, then please do consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. And if you have any particular news stories you would like us to cover, then please do let us know in the dedicated room over on Discord. Plus, if you are listening to this podcast on any of the many podcast services around the world, then please do consider giving us a little review. It does help us spread our wings and get into the earlobes of plenty of other podcast goers. Anyway, enough of the plugs, let's get on with the show. So, starting us off, let's chat about Sonic Colors. Now, one of the more loved 3D Sonic games. I think when they really started to hit those 3D Sonic games right, not taking away anything from Sonic Adventure, I've got a hardcore soft spot. I don't know if that's a very nice thing to say, but I have got a hardcore soft spot for Sonic Adventure. Big time.
Does that even work? A hardcore soft spot?
I don't know. But I have one. I have one for Sonic Adventure. However, Sonic Colors for the Wii is rumoured. It's not official yet, but it is rumoured and heavily rumoured. We'll go through those rumours in a moment. To be getting a remaster. Now, obviously, I talk with Sega quite a lot, and I know people will ask me straight away. I have not been told about this, and that's not me trying to keep secrets. I just don't know. So I'm as blind as everybody else. But it says here, article taken from Real Otaku Gamer, which I think means we need to be giving a shout out to
John B.
Yes,
this one.
Thank you very much, John B. It seems one of Sonic's best games may be making a comeback. As mentioned, of a remaster of the game was found on the website of IK Sample, a German dubbing studio. IK Sample is allegedly handling the dub, which will be the first for the title. The company is involved with localization. The original Sonic Colors did not have a German dub, so Sega may want to include it in a potential remaster. Exciting stuff. What's your thoughts on Sonic Colors, Grizzly?
Absolutely the best 3D Sonic game there is, and that's not because it's one of the hardest ones to enjoy these days. When it first came out on the Wii, this was around the time that Sonic cycle was still happening. If people don't remember that was the idea of a Sonic game being announced, people getting hyped up, all worked up. The game comes out and it disappoints everyone, and that was the case from say 2004, from Sonic Heroes all the way to Sonic Colors. So this is the one that changed everything about 3D Sonic games as a general rule. I know there's going to be a lot of debate about that, but let's just face it, Sonic didn't have the best reputation up until Sonic Colors came out.
Yeah, especially, definitely in the 3D space.
So, to see this news, I'm really excited because there's only a couple of things wrong with the original Sonic Colors. One, it was on the Wii, and therefore could only be done in like standard definition, like visuals. So basically, you're playing in iStraino vision, to call back to a previous podcast. But also, you were kind of, I know you could play with the GameCube controller, but let's just face it, motion controls were also a factor and what have you. So if you didn't have a GameCube controller, you were stuck with those. As I say, Sonic Colors is one of the best Sonic games there is going. I can't wait to play it again. And I also am looking forward to the proposition because another place in which this was leaked, so Dan's already mentioned the German dub.
Yep.
But another place this was leaked was a French retailer called So Gamely. No, I haven't heard of them either. But they have listed a limited edition release, which suggests that they're going to try and make a bigger deal. And if that bigger deal adds in things like, I don't know, a re-release of Sonic Lost World and the Sonic Colors DS game. Yes, there was a DS game. then I'll be all for it, because that's like 3 games in one. I mean, I'm talking purely speculatively here. Chances are they're only ever going to focus on this 3D game if they were to re-release it, and I would say it's all but confirmed at this stage. But I would love to see a full package of Sonic Colors. It is a great game, and if you haven't played it yet, this could be the best opportunity you get.
Yeah, I don't have quite as much love for Sonic Colors. I played it. See, I borrowed Sonic Colors. I don't think I've ever actually owned Sonic Colors. I borrowed Sonic Colors. I played it, and it didn't grab me enough to get past too many of the levels. Honestly, I've never been the biggest fan of the Wisps mechanic. I much preferred the straightforward aspect of Sonic Generations. I would much rather them do Sonic Generations. However, I am all for this because I do know there is a lot of love for Sonic Colors. So yeah, I'm all for it. I've really got much to add. I think it's probably definitely going to be happening. I would love for this to be part, because essentially this is what ones am I missing here? Is this like a trilogy of them? You've obviously got the Sonic Colors, which used the Sonic engine, wasn't it? The one where it jumps from the forward, the running forward Sonic arse camera style, and then it actually flips to 2D as well.
So yeah, Colors was like the first one.
Right. Okay.
And then you had, I'm pretty sure it was the first one. Then you had Unleashed, and then it was Generations. So it's the first of the Boost series. I'm going to check my info on that one, because I'm not...
Yeah, I can't remember which one came first. The thing is, it's always crazy, because obviously being a retro nut, I was always obsessed with trying to play a new 2D type Sonic game. And it's the 2D sections in these games, which I was actually never the biggest fan of. I think they were done well enough in Generations. I mean, they've got the nostalgic heartstring sections. But it was always... actually in these 3D Sonic games that the running forward sections were actually the best, in my opinion. Unleashed was first by 2 years, so I got that completely wrong. Okay,
but yeah, it felt like the refined version. So Unleashed came out, people were all over Unleashed. Then they realised that they had the Werehog. So this is their kind of answer to that whole situation by saying, you know what, we're gonna just make it all Sonic. And oh my god, it's actually people actually like this.
Yeah. I mean,
they went to
I understand why people like them. They've just never really fully grabbed me. I think Sonic Forces, which uses that same mechanic again, I didn't even get past the first level on that. It's just they don't do it for me. And Sonic, what's it called, Mania, like, that's what I like my Sonic games to be. Sonic Adventure is the I would always, that's probably my favorite 3D Sonic game. I'll tell you how crazy I am with this. I didn't complete Sonic Colors. I didn't get very far in Sonic Colors, but I did complete both Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic and the Black Knight. So I don't know what that says about me as a gamer, but obviously, I preferred those games more. I did go back and try and play. I think it was Sonic and the Secret Rings, like, quite recently. I was like, damn, this is a hard game to understand, like, to try and get your head around. It's so confusing.
The thing that makes me laugh as well is that I know exactly what you're saying about Mania. That's exactly how I like my Sonic games too, I will stick to that. But let's also bear in mind that 2 years prior, you had Sonic Unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
Just before Sonic Colors originally launched, you got Sonic 4 Episode 1. Now, which game sounds better to you?
I understand. Although I would say I preferred the 2D sections in Sonic 4 than I did in Sonic Colors. And those types of ones. Sonic 4 gets too much hate. Like I've already said, I mean, they did it well with Streets of Rage 4, calling it number 4, the 4th game. It was good enough to be part of the original trilogy. Sonic 4 is an okay game. It was an okay first step towards bringing Sonic back to a 2D field again, but it definitely has no place in being called 4. So if it wasn't called Sonic 4 and it was called something stupidly else, I think I'm literally repeating what we talked about last week or the week before.
It seems that way. It's a lot of treading around here.
We're following, but it would have been better. It would have been more well received. But I'm happy that it's happening because, like I say, there's a lot of people out there. I would be much more excited if it was Sonic Generations. For some reason, that just gelled more with me. But yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. Maybe I'll play through it this time completely. I didn't not like it. I just wanted to play something else, probably. There you go. And Sonic on Neo Geo Pocket was pretty good, says Adam from YouTube. You're not wrong. I enjoyed playing that one. Definitely. I did put it.
Sonic code.
Yeah, I put it out to the Slopes Cast chat that are in here right now. If anyone wanted to join in on this particular topic, but it looks like I think they're all waiting for one of our later topics that we're going to get to.
Yes, there's a lot of contention for that one.
Oh yes. Now let's move on to the game that has pushed back Pac-Man: The Complete History Part 2. Yes, it's taken so long to make that history video that there is actually 2 new Pac-Man games that have come out since the scripting to actually having it edited. It was insane. With the latest one being Pac-Man 99. Now, this is obviously jumping on the 99 or 35 bandwagon, which is what Nintendo Switch have been putting out. You originally started off with Tetris 99, and then you had Super Mario 35, 99 or 35. People play at the exact same time, and depending on how you play in the game, you would send your enemies to the opponent's game, and it would make it harder for them, and it's the last person standing. It's essentially Battle Royale. Now, this is interesting, because not only is Pac-Man 99 a brilliant game, and it's actually, I think, a better fit for this 99 field than what Mario was. It's far from the only Pac-Man Battle Royale game. And on top of that, it's still so incredibly different than all of the other Battle Royale Pac-Man games. There's actually another one that's going on right now on Stadia, of all places, which is a lot more like a typical Pac-Man Pac-Man Battle Royale game. And they're both fantastic, but they both play completely differently, which is insane because they're both just Pac-Man. Have you been playing Pac-Man 99 at all, Grizzly?
Not yet, because annoyingly my Switch Online subscription decided it was going to, expire just as this came out.
Oh, really?
As soon as I get back on, I absolutely will, because Tetris 99 is one of the greatest Battle Royale games ever made.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, while I'm not the biggest fan of Pac-Man, I certainly don't have the same level of, I didn't grow up during Pac-Mania or anything like that, but I still love Pac-Man as a concept. It is fundamentally one of the games that you could consider perfect.
Yeah, for what it was trying to do, absolutely. Yeah.
I absolutely want to give this a go, because I love the Battle Royale concept out of retro games, and I'm just wondering what they're going to do next. Because this isn't going to go away. As long as the engagement's there, this is not going to go away.
It's incredible how much they've managed to ram into such a small concept. There's so much going on with this. So for people that don't know, so obviously you play as normal Pac-Man. You play a normal game of Pac-Man, but the way it works is you can actually you go over these little notches, and basically what that would do is that would create a chain, and then you could try and knock out as many of these ghosts in this big conga line of ghosts in one go, which is obviously very similar to the Pac-Man Championship Edition DX games, which spoiler alert for people that haven't watched, obviously no one's watched Pac-Man Part 2 yet, but that is actually Toru Iwatani, the creator of the original Pac-Man, favourite Pac-Man game, even more than his original. It's an incredible game, so they've managed to push that in there. Now every time you send one of the ghosts to one of the opponents, that sends a sort of white shadow of a Pac-Man, which all it does is just get in your way. So if you go into that Pac-Man, it will slow you down. And then when you get into like the final, I don't even know what the number is, maybe the final 50, it starts sending red Pac-Man to you, and all you have to do is dodge them. So there's even more things to dodge. So not only are you trying to dodge 4 ghosts, you're now trying to dodge another 10 Pac-Man on top. It gets so insanely frantic towards the end, and at the same time, though, it doesn't feel as hard and brutally hard as the original game does when you're, a newcomer and you don't understand the movements of the ghosts. it really is a perfect way to play for them to evolve the Pac-Man name, which it blows my mind that they're still finding new ways to evolve Pac-Man. I don't even know what the final number is on the amount of games, but the second part of My Complete History is about an hour and 20 minutes, and it is just throwing. And then you got this, and then you got this, and because they put out so many Pac-Man games. But yeah, it's fantastic. It's utterly fantastic. And also, this is one that if they do release physically, which I really hope they do, they did it with Tetris, so I'm hoping they do with this. The amount of DLC they've added with this, and most of it's just skins, honestly, but the DLC lineup they have is utterly fantastic as well. You've even got things like you can change the skins to another Namco property called Cosmo Gang. That's the one that jumped out at me because so few people know of Cosmo Gang, but Cosmo Gang is an Ella Mecha arcade series of games, which had a few home ports and maybe arcade ports eventually as well. But yeah, and that was actually the basis for a game called Pack Attack. There's so much history in the back end of this. For someone like me, it's orgasmic. It's orgasmic. So, yeah, this is nothing but a great thing. So Nintendo, please release it physically. I will definitely buy it, and it's the only thing that's holding me back buying all that DLC, because it is 25 quid's worth of DLC, in all honesty. Yeah,
that's the only real downside to this. I mean, there's a lot of stuff from Tetris 99, like score attack modes, extra boards that you can play through, which do seem to be hidden behind a bit of a paywall, which is a bit annoying. But I will say, the core experience and everything you would like come to the game for, it is present in the free version, which is fair enough, I think. So usually when you see a physical release for something like this, like the Tetris 99 had a great physical release. It had essentially just the box with a cartridge for Tetris 99, but it also gave you that year worth of Nintendo Switch Online. I can see the same thing happening here, and if this continues to be a trend, I'm all for that, really, because I feel like you're getting your money's worth. This is a game you can keep coming back to. So, you know, it's a lesser evil when it comes to DLC games, I will say. Absolutely. And I know we're going to jump back a topic here, but very, very quickly, I just want to give a shout out to all of the people that actually voted on the Sonic Colors Remastered here. Everybody said they would get that remastered game if that came out. But moving here right on to hey, Top Hat Gaming Man live is raiding me. Thank you so much, everybody. We're doing a live Slopescast chat. We'll cut this out if for the one that goes live. Hello, everybody. Please do stick around. We're talking about all of the latest retro gaming news. It's our Tuesday night podcast, and we're currently chatting about how good Pac-Man 99 is, even though only 50% of the presenters here have actually played it. But what I would ask is we've got such a new group of people here, is what 99 game do you want to see next? That's not something you do as a poll, so I'm just going to ask. Guys, tell me, what 99 type game do you want to see next? The obvious one is Bomberman, but I don't really know what you could add, because it's essentially already a Battle Royale game anyway, if not the original Battle Royale. What do you think, Grizzly? Anything popping up? No, I can't. Well, that's the beauty of stuff like Pac-Man 99, isn't it? It came by surprise. Yeah. If it wasn't for the fact that Mario 35 died as just before this came out, it almost feels like one's been replacing for the other. But I'm hoping this is going to be a bit more permanent. If it was up to me, though, I don't think a Zelda 99 would work. Interesting. Well, I mean, a lot of people are saying in the chat Zelda 99. I don't see how that would personally work, but then again, I'm not the biggest fan of the original Zelda. I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of popular things I've found, and I don't mean to sound like that contrarian, but I don't know. I'd love to see a Sonic 99. That would be cool. Yeah, I mean, they've done it with Mario. It's the same concept, isn't it? Absolutely. Yeah, you got Sonic there. Someone said Metal Slug. You could literally put any game 99 on there. I think realistically, Zelda seems to be the most obvious choice.
for what they could do with it. But I mean, if you look back at their more arcadey games, something like Ice Climbers or Balloon, is it Balloon Kid? They're ones that would probably actually work the best. And Nintendo have no problems with resurrecting these old IPs because they've done it with Nintendo Land, and Nintendo Land's a game that people don't bring up enough. That was such an incredible. It should have been a packing title, and perhaps it would have actually helped the Wii a bit if it was. But Donkey Kong,
Pong 99.
Pong 99. I think I'm sticking with Mario 128. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, can we get Michael Towns in here? Because he's got a little something that he wants to add to this.
Oh, does he? Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have been summoned, Michael Towns.
Oh, I'm summoned. Yeah.
The enthusiasm.
Yeah. Oh, do I have to? Go for it, Michael Towns. What did you want to add to this little Pac-Man 99 chit chat, bud?
There was a mode in F-Zero X on the GameCube where, like, I think it was called Death Race, where it was you versus 29 other racers, and you had to basically smack them off and kill them and try and get first. But that, as a 99 game, would be like my perfect game.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, and the more you open your mind up to this sort of thing, it makes sense. RMC is saying Roland on the Ropes 99. For the one or two people in here that actually understands what that is. We're making ridiculous. 13.99 Star Fox 99 would actually work very well.
Do you know what I think?
What?
I think this is perfect. Micro Machines 99.
It would totally work. What you need to do with Micro Machines, I don't believe my one comes with them. Let me have a look. It's good now because when we upload this to YouTube, it comes with the video, so people now understand what I'm actually looking at. And it doesn't. You used to be able to get these little scorecards, birthday card things that came with the game, and obviously my version doesn't actually have them anymore.
I've got those.
You've got those, yes.
Yeah.
So you could just turn that into a 99. Makes sense. Makes sense.
How about Mr. Whippy 99?
WarioWare, Michael Towns might have won with that. That would be the perfect way to bring WarioWare to the Switch. And
that's actually genius. Yeah.
That is a genius one. They could definitely do that.
I'd play the hell out of that.
Oh my god, yeah, for sure. So, yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Michael Towns, for joining in, buddy. I appreciate you giving yours 2 cents. Oh, Super Monkey Ball. We could just be here all day, just saying games and then adding the word the number 99 on the end and just like losing our mind at what the possibilities.
Just assume if you mention anything Sega related, that it's never going to happen.
Well, you never know. You never know.
I know, right? Optimistic versus pessimistic, and all of that. Yeah,
you know, I mean, let's not forget that the greatest futuristic racing game that Nintendo have under their belt was actually created by Sega. Oh, I went there. Yes. They need to get that back out. That's a game they need to remaster big time. But we are well off topic now, big time. So
thanks, Mike.
Cheers,
You're
Mike.
in the mute now.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you. So let's move on to a topic which I'm a little bit skeptical about talking about, and we can assure you right now, guys, this is not something we're going to bring up again until there are some proper, substantial rumours. And I think today is one of those days where we can actually bring this up. Unfortunately, this does seem to be a topic where people like to bring up every 2 minutes for the clicks. But thankfully, This is actually one time to actually bring it up. Nintendo Switch's firmware 12.00 possibly contains references to a new Switch Pro model. Now, I am all for a new Switch Pro model. Nintendo don't need to release one. That's the thing people need to understand here. They don't need to make a new Switch because the original Switch is just completely not slowing down with its numbers. It's selling so well. So I suppose in Nintendo's eyes, at least this is what I would be doing. Why would you dirty that water? Why would you do the Sega and like, well, the Mega Drive's doing well, let's throw a Mega CD in there, let's throw a 32X in there, you know, like it's happened. There's a perfect example of putting too much out can spoil it. However, As of right now, there is quite a good rumor saying that the Switch Pro may actually happen. Actually, Grizzly, explain how this has all come about.
Yeah, so in this firmware update, there was reference to the AULA model, which is AULA.
Yes.
Now, it's been long rumoured and supposedly leaked that the AULA is the Switch Pro, because it also references resolutions such as 4K, 30 frames per second, all of that, and it refers to, and the update was to the dock and how it's going to be recognised. So, a lot of people are seeing this as like the trifecta. This is absolutely confirmed now, and I wouldn't say it's too far from the truth. But as you mentioned earlier, we don't really like commenting too much on rumor.
No, definitely not,
because got to keep respectable around here. But this is Slope's game room. But just in general, like the Switch Pro seems to be a thing that's happening, and it seemed like a good topic for discussion, especially when. There's a lot of possibilities here, but also the possibility that we could be looking at the very last 1.5 to 2 years worth of the Switch, which is considerable. I mean, the Switch is getting on a bit now. Came out in 2013-14,
and
roughly.
You do notice it. It's a very easy and lazy console to port your games to. It seems to be that way. I've got a lot of games on my shelf. As a perfect example.
2017,
Portal Bridge Construction is a game that shouldn't be hard, and yet you play that game and it chugs along at single-digit frames when you get to some of the later levels. It's like, it's not unplayable because you don't need to do things in real time. You just press play and see how your bridge was made and it all comes together. But eventually, when you've got so much going on, you just press play, I don't even know what happens. Okay, I did that level. It gets really, really bad by the end, and there's a lot of games like that, and we are definitely in need of a Pro, in my opinion. I would love for there to be one, and I've got a beautiful collection I've built up. 129 games. I counted them today because I'm that much of a loser, and I would love to put them in a Pro and just give them a little punch up the arse, kick up the arse even. Like I say, the time is now, guys. It would be nice if it actually happened, but like I say, it's not something we're gonna discuss too often because it is very clickbaity, and we don't like to be like that. We like to actually talk about things as and when there's a substantial rumor and a substantial bit of evidence that's come out, and this is actually one that's pretty hardcore. Yeah,
I mean, Justin Cardiff in the Twitch chat has made a very good point. I mean, it's Nintendo consoles usually last around 5 years. The Switch is 4 years now, so 2017 it was originally released. So we are looking at the latter end of the Switch life cycle. That's kind of weird because people still seem so invested in it, and as am I, you definitely are.
Yeah, I love
129 games. If this was the Wii U, we'd be looking at the follow-up right now. So where is Nintendo going to go with the Switch? And I feel that this is more of an interesting discussion than a Pro version, because are they going to follow up with the Switch name? I feel like they would be foolish if they didn't.
I don't know. They've tried it
before. I feel like a Switch to... Yeah, but the Wii U is it's a special case, isn't it? I'm thinking more along the lines of the Game Boy to the Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
I feel like it should be... You should still be using Switch cartridges on the Switch 2 or whatever console comes next.
Top Hat Gaming Man, I remember he brought up a really good point like a while ago when he was saying about how the new 3DS, I don't even know if that's the right one, but it was basically a slightly bumped up version of the 3DS, and it's got officially the smallest library of any of the Nintendo consoles out there that are specifically made for that particular rendition.
Is it 2 games?
It's something ridiculous like that. One of them is a Xenoblade game, and I don't know what the other one is. I'm praying that... Do I want them to make games that are more only going to run on a Switch Pro? Or
no, they won't do that.
Yeah, I think it'd be a... Well, I suppose they didn't really do that last time, except for, like you say, just 2 games. But
yeah, the way Nintendo work on this one is if they can't give you the upgrade in a expansion pack kind of thing, or the Wii Remote Plus as an example, then they're just not going to limit you necessarily, because they've done experiments like the DSiWare and what have you, and they never work. They never sell gangbusters like they hope they would.
They sell well enough though, don't they? It's like,
well, I mean, like Fire Emblem Warriors and Xenoblade Chronicles was the two for
right.
for new 3DS, and yeah, fair enough, they're popular games, but I don't think they were enough to warrant making more. I mean, we didn't see any more, so that's a bad sign, surely. I think where Pro models really excel is by taking the experience that pretty much everyone else can have access to, but making it slightly better. So on the new 3DS XL, you had Zelda Majora's Mask, and what that gave you was a second stick to play with for your camera control, which was a game which is brilliant for that game. And also the extra processing power behind it just made everything run smoother. And that's really what you want from a Pro console, not necessarily a 4K Mario Kart. Yeah, you might get that as a result for brute forcing older versions of the game like Mario Kart 8. But really, you're not expecting a new Mario Kart, which is only going to be on Switch Pro. They don't want to segregate their fan base like that. Those games make too much money for them.
Yeah,
and too much at stake.
In our chat here on Twitch, Sir Clowndad put it down like, if you don't want stuff to specifically Switch Pro, would you drop £300 or dollars, whatever it will be, to slightly improve the frame rates? Like, it's a tough one. I personally would, because I'm a bit of an addict to that console. Like I say, it's going to be a tough one for Nintendo to sell if they did go down that route, because the people outside of the gaming market are buying these systems, and it will wind them up. Old NES style, like, when the SNES is coming out, you got those mums like, this is just what marketing companies do. Yeah. So,
if it can do the home experience and the handheld experience and do it in a way that it completely exceeds what has come before and really make it feel worth the initial outlay, I would absolutely spend the 300 bones on it.
Yeah.
But it has to do that, and that's not really what Nintendo do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they, like you say, with the 3DS, one of the big things they did with that is actually have it so that when you move around, it stays 3D because it locks onto your eyes, rather than the original 3DS where you would have to like stay exactly perfectly still to be able to get the 3D effect. That was a massive game changer for me. Like, I couldn't believe how good that looked, and that was quite mind blowing. Adding 4K to this, we'll see. I don't know what else they could do really. Wireless signal sending to the telly, is that even possible?
I think that's that. Well, I don't know. Maybe they've stuck a few Genki overdrives in these things. I don't know.
Higher battery, of course. Get the controllers working. That's your number one priority right there.
Yeah, this one works and will actually become a retro system as opposed to something that goes into the e-waste pile.
Yeah, fix those controllers. I actually have, for people watching, the Hori split on mine, and it is now the only way I play on the Switch. It is like the way to do it. So yeah, there's a few things that definitely need to be upgraded, and I think now is the time. Just see how, if and when it happens, how Nintendo would ever go about doing that thing. But yeah, a pretty substantial rumor out there at the moment, and like I say, this will be the last time you hear from it until you hear something, until something decent actually comes from this bit of news. Now, moving over to Castlevania, the cancelled Dreamcast game, which thankfully came out, and this news dropped just after I dropped my Castlevania The Complete History video. Yes, there is a new, well, not new, obviously very old, 3D Castlevania prototype that has been leaked, or at least footage of it has been shown.
Yeah.
You can't actually download this yet to play it. I'm really hoping you can do that thing fairly soon. But, I mean, this is exciting. More prototype news. It seems to be becoming a weekly thing for us now, to be bringing all this up.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I know it's a bad word around here, Castlevania, because of just how long it took for you to put that.
I'm starting to get back into it now. I'm actually wanting to play Metroidvanias a lot more again now. I just bought myself Guacamole. So
all I'm going to say is, guys, I know we don't really. Well, I know the podcast is kind of a separate thing, but really do, if you haven't seen it already, the Castlevania Complete History on Slope's main channel is absolutely fantastic and well worth a watch if you had even just a passing interest in Castlevania. It's fascinating. And seeing Asobi Kwang's collection is quite something as well, isn't it?
It is unreal. It is unreal.
I'm surprised he let you unseal some of those things.
Yeah,
does he even know?
Yeah, he does. He does. It was actually his suggestion. So for people that don't know, I made a couple of videos, a part 1 and a part 2, but it was Castlevania: The Complete History, and it was the complete history of Castlevania. It's one I put off for an incredibly long time because it was such an undertaking to take on something like Castlevania, and then I went and didn't learn my lessons. I went and did Pac-Man straight after, but it was an extreme one. And what made the video so much sweeter was the fact that potentially the biggest Castlevania collection in the world possibly was at my disposal, with a heavy amount of the games still in their cellophane wrapper, and the awesome Asobi Kwang DX lent them to me and goes, oh, by the way, if you want to unwrap any of these, let me know. I bought them to play them. I'm like, really? You want me to unbox it? But we're talking, I was unboxing games for like the for the Genesis, games that had never been unwrapped. And I'm like, oh, should I be doing this? Should I be doing this? But yeah, it was it took a long ass time to get done, a couple of months to finish that video, but I was really happy with the end result. And as Chrissy said, go check it out.
Yeah.
And like I said, thankfully, it's no longer the complete history because there's a new Dreamcast prototype that's just been shown off online. Now, it is very, very incomplete. When you see the person playing it, they're awkwardly playing it with one controller because I'm assuming the other one hand, the other hand's holding a camera. But they can get hit by fireballs and walk on lava, and there were certain things that they still need to fix and stuff like that. But it's definitely towards the era of Castlevania games that I was not interested in personally. I know there's a lot of lovers out there for the 3D Castlevania games. I was definitely more of an Eagavania player myself, the typical Symphony of the Night and some of those incredible Game Boy Advance and DS games like Harmony of Despair and what have you. Although that was the HD one, wasn't it? Whatever. I prefer the 2D flat ones, but still, more prototype news, and it's, again, as always, nothing but a good thing.
Oh, there's not much to say about this because it's literally just some guy practicing his one-handed gameplay and running around in a castle for a few moments. But I will say, graphically, it looks quite neat for something that came out in 1999. I mean, this was the gap between PlayStation and Dreamcast literally just came out that this was originally shown. So the footage that has been shown is from the 1999 E3 presentation.
I
so
think it actually predates that.
So this is the build for E3.
Yes.
So the actual dated build. So it's not even really much of a game at all. It's just like a closed door demo of the intention of what's going to be shown. But still, I love seeing this because I also love hearing the stories of how they even make it into collectors' hands. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just makes you think what else is out there,
Oh, there are so many games that we never ever get to hear from. I could spend. It's so bad when I do a complete history and then I end up running over to like Unseen 64 and the games that weren't websites. You can just get lost for hours and hours. There are hundreds of thousands of games that have never seen the light of day. And for someone like me that's always looking for new video ideas, I'm like, oh wow. And so many video ideas have come from places like that. When I found out about the unreleased MC Hammer games, for instance, I know we're like moving quite far away from Castlevania here, but there's a million out there, and it's.
Are you saying there's a game out there that we can't touch?
Yeah, we can't touch it. Very, very good. I like that. Very
Please,
well
Hammer,
done.
don't hurt him. Please, Hammer, don't hurt him.
You just got to pray. I was so into MC Hammer as a kid. I was like the perfect 90s kid, I was. I wanted those baggy trousers.
Oh, who didn't?
Yeah,
those
man.
parachute pants are legendary.
Oh, that's
Only
so good.
one man can pull that off, and you couldn't touch him.
He done the Addams Family theme, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, I try not to think about that.
Play how they want to.
I try not to think about that one. Yeah,
he's actually a terrible rapper. If you actually sit and listen to his lyrics outside of the choruses, but obviously that party hip hop, the actual lyrics themselves are like the worst rhymes. They were so bad. It was like literally nursery rhymes over a hip hop beat. It's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, new Castlevania. It looks very exciting. Very, very exciting.
Partially related to the Addams Family, I suppose.
Yeah. There's your link.
Yeah, it'll work.
Right. Moving over to one that I've got to disable my ad blocker. We'll cut this out. No, we won't cut this out.
It looks like you're using an ad blocker. Have you considered not stealing free content from us, from our free content website?
So, moving over to our next topic, Balan Wonderland. I keep calling it Balan Wonderland. Balan Wonderworld.
I call it Blunderworld myself.
Oh, it's doing bad. Balan Wonderworld flops in Japan as well, selling less than 2,100 copies in its first week. Ouch. Sucks to be you, Square, because you have not had the best time recently. You had the Marvel game, which has not done well. I was so looking forward to that game, on the lead up to that game, and then panned. It doesn't deserve to get quite as much hate, the Marvel one, but this does. And that pains me to say, because I am definitely a Yuji Naka lover. Plenty of Yuji Naka games out there are obviously very, very well respected. You've got your Knights games, obviously the original Sonic the Hedgehog games as well. He has definitely got some hardcore badges on his video game Scouts scarf, but this is not one of them. Balan Wonderworld is bad. It's a bad game, and it's not even doing well in Japan, where you would actually, if you've actually played the demo at least, you would think it would probably have a bit more of a chance there in Japan, because it's insanely quirky and very, very Japanese is probably the better. It's a very Japanese looking and feeling game, but it's not. It's doing bad. This is a flop from beginning to end, and even though Square did fix a lot of the issues that people even like myself put forward when they played that demo before it's released with a day one patch, you cannot fix the actual gameplay mechanics, and unfortunately, it's going to be too late anyway. This is up there with your Superman 64s now. Unfortunately.
The sad part is, right, there's a article from Nintendo Life from 29th of September last year.
Yep.
Which quoted Yuji Naka, who said that Square Enix famously has a JRPG image. He didn't feel like he'd be able to make a good JRPG, so he approached them about making a platformer, and the response was, yes, absolutely, you created Sonic. You've made some great platforms, and Billy Hatcher, Nights into Dreams. The list could be endless here, but this is your one chance. And this Balan Wonderworld was the one chance to make a successful platformer at Square Enix, something they haven't done, I'll add, for years and years. In fact, I can't even remember the last platformer game that they released.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could add, like, not really a platformer, but like the Tomb Raider series, those sort of games where they have like platforming elements, but yeah, as a proper standard simple platformer. I remember when Billy Hatcher came out, it wasn't the world's most well-reviewed game, but it had its gameplay down, and it had the charm. This game does have charm, and it does look very nice cutscene wise, but the game itself looks very basic, very broken. I do feel there's got to be more to this, because there's no way that even Yuji Naka himself can put this out knowing the way it was. This must have been rushed, or maybe Square Enix saw that this wasn't going well and that we just need to get this out. I don't know what's happened behind the scenes, but a guy that's created some of the best platformers in the world, definitely, and he's a very, very intelligent bloke with the games he puts out there. I didn't even mind Rodea, and if he had more time to work on that, which I know he wanted to, it would have been even better. That would have been a great successor to Knights, and I actually didn't mind it at all, if I'm honest. I thought it was all right.
See, I think the problem with things like, I mean, let's look at a couple of recent examples. We've had the likes of Taxi Chaos come out. And I know it's a weird one to bring up when we're talking about Balan Wonderworld, but one thing I've noticed about classic Sega properties, or in particular the people who work on them or have worked on them, is that each classic Sega game, as we remember it, is a sum of its own parts.
Yeah.
You've got great character design, Sonic the Hedgehog. You've got great gameplay programming. Back then, it's a hell of a lot simpler than it is now, where you have the team, not just Yuji Naka, but Yuji Naka would have been the guy who essentially directed it all. Now it's a whole different ball game, and you're talking about taking the Sega out of a guy who created for Sega. And Balan Wonderworld is now part of this giant conglomerate that is Square Enix. There's probably a team that was working on it that maybe didn't quite believe in it, or the effort wasn't there, or the budget wasn't there.
Yeah.
And you remove that, and suddenly the great character design, because let's be honest, the actual character of Balan looks great. That's Naoto Oshima all over.
Yeah.
The idea of switching out costumes was probably a great idea, but it was poorly executed. And that's, unfortunately, I don't think Yuji Naka or Naoto Oshima is necessarily to blame. But we have also seen them fail a couple of times with Rodea, Sky Soldier, Ivy, the Kiwi on DS, and things like that. So I'm not saying he's completely without blame, but let's just face it, I don't feel like he's been given the full shot here, and I think he's shouldering a bit too much of the blame. But also, let's be honest here, at some point someone had to say yes or no to releasing it. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yuji Naka does speak out quite a lot. He gets himself in trouble for it as well. And I think we may hear a little bit more about this in the future. Whether it's true or not, we will see. But there's definitely more to this story. And it's such a shame that it's done so badly. The thing with... I'm just lost for words by how bad this is. I really am, because it shouldn't be. We got one of the most legendary video game creators ever has pumped out what looks like a bad kickstarted indie game with an incredible cutscene department working on the middle bits. It's really bizarre. It's when you play it, if you've never looked into this game, I'm not playing any gameplay footage here right now for people that are listening or that listening in later. Go in blind, download the demo for your PlayStation 4, 5, whatever. Go in blind, just because it's so weird. It's really odd. Like, what's going on now? And then when you finish the first world level, whatever it is, and it just gets even more bizarre. Like, I don't understand what's happening. And yeah, it hasn't even got that obscure wonder to carry it, because the game itself is just terrible as well. It's such a shame. It's such a shame.
Here's the thing, though: if this game released in a very similar state back in the 90s, would we have minded? Would we be talking about this nowadays as a classic?
This is one thing
that bothers me.
This is the one thing. The internet's got this, and I say this quite a lot. The internet's got this thing where they like to sugarcoat bad things. Mario movies, goddamn terrible. But right now, there's a resurgence. There's a lot of people out there that think, "Oh, I always liked it." No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And it's the same thing with a lot of really bad games as well. I do see PlayStation 6-ish era, maybe 7. People will start talking about Balan Wonderland with more positive light. I think we'll see. But I reckon
possibly, yeah.
Just because that's the way it works.
Just bear in mind, I think everybody needs to realise at some point that for the vast majority of games out there, that's someone's first ever game.
Yeah.
And someone's going to grow up with fondness for this. They're going to go, hang on, this is a bit of a hidden gem. I mean, there could be updates that are coming out in the next couple of months which will change things out and make it
Square
a bit
Enix
more...
are pretty hardcore with their updates. They don't mind doing that sort of thing. I don't know if they'll do it for this, but it's done so.
Now, do I think it's necessarily acceptable for that to be the case? No, I don't. I prefer games to be in a playable and enjoyable state when they first come out. I mean, I'm just old school that way. But when it comes to things like this, the one good thing about the digital future that we're living in at the moment is that media gets a second chance.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen it with Zack Snyder's Justice League. We've seen it with countless video games. I mean, look at No Man's Sky. Those guys got to work and they turned what was a 4 out of 10 into an... Let's face it could be an 8 or 9 out of 10 now, because they actually knuckled down and got to work. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, we'll see.
So let's get Mike Towns back in one more time. How you doing, Mike Towns? What have you got to add on Balan Wonderworld, mate?
I don't know if it's just my sort of collector of games mind, but the first thing I thought of when I first saw that Balan Wonderland had only sold, had only sold 2,100 copies was, this thing's going to be hard to find one day. Like, I wouldn't mind getting a hold of one of these and just keeping it sealed.
Sounds like there might be a surplus, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think it's got plenty of... Give it a little while, mate. You won't have to drop 60 quid on this. That's another thing. Well, how is this a full price game?
Dig it up in the desert one day.
Everyone knows that anything that is made by Sega or someone who's previously worked for Sega usually drops in price pretty quickly. So they're just getting what they can right now.
Yeah, and the fact it's out on all your major consoles as well. I mean, this isn't like the Wii U where something like that terrible Sonic 3D game that they made, the Sonic, what was it called? Sonic, whatever one that was that everyone hates. That's actually worth a lot of money now because people want it, and that's what I'm saying. The same thing. There could be a lot of love for this eventually. Who knows?
I mean, there's always chance, but I don't know. We'll see.
For sure. Okay, so moving over to our last topic. Let's go over to our last topic. We got a little article here from Nintendo Life. Great website. And basically, I mean, it was already announced quite a while ago. Alex Kidd is basically getting remastered. And now you can finally buy it physically. We got another trailer dropped for the new Alex Kidd. What a time to be alive. A new Alex Kidd. I mean, I have pre-ordered the... quite expensive, actually, limited edition, I will add, of this. If for whatever reason, it seems to be more expensive than all their other previous limited editions, even more than like Streets of Rage and stuff like that. I'm excited to see what happens with this. And I can already see, just by the trailer, I've just answered my own question, they have updated the way this game plays a little bit. Because the thing with the original Alex Kidd in Miracle World, that was the one, wasn't it? Yeah. Alex Kidd in Miracle World, most people didn't really get past the first couple of levels. And the reason for that is Alex Kidd is a bit of a flawed platformer, in all honesty. I'm very interested to see what new gameplay mechanics they bring to this. I'm actually okay if they do play around with it a little bit. I don't want a straight port. What do you think? What's your thoughts on Alex Kidd?
I mean, clearly it's being an older game and it's just a pack-in title, there's a genuine, like, a bit of a rose-tinted goggle situation going on here because people recognise it as the game that you play when you didn't have anything else to play and it was just there and you can keep going at it. And, some people just, they brute force themselves through the floors and they don't necessarily recognise it when they're a bit younger and, of course, when they remember the good parts about the game and not the bad. For Alex Kidd, there's some definite things that needed work, at least in a remastered sense. However, I will say I'm all for original feel preservation. So I think there should at least be like original physics mode, similar to how in Sonic CD remaster for the iPhone that you can use the crappy spin attack or the Sonic 2 spin attack.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that idea of a choice, but when it comes to the new version graphics and what have you, you kind of want it to feel right, and maybe it will feel right if you just update the physics ever so slightly. But if you flip back, maybe flip the physics back too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a weird one. One thing I am picking up from the trailer, because one thing I always thought was flawed in this game is you could do. Go and look at the long play of the original Alex Kidd in Miracle World. It's really, really big, that game. Most people don't know because you don't get past the first couple of worlds, really. And at the end of each world, you have to play rock, paper, scissors. And all that work can just get thrown out the window if you mess up on a game of chance at the end of the level, which is a really bad way to end a level and have a boss. Thankfully, in this, what I can see is the fact that you can actually fight those bosses. So my guess is the fact that you will go up and play what's that, Jan Ken Pon, I think it's actually called in maybe it's called something like that in Japan, and if you fail, maybe it turns into an actual fight, which I hope is the case. That would be a great way to update it instantly. Let's hope. I do like that Sega are giving these old IPs to what looks like pretty trusted people here. I still want Way Forward to get hold of Ristar. That is my dream. And for the Streets of Rage guys to have Comic Zone. They're the two big ones that I really, really want. But I like what they've done to Alex Kidd. I've always said I don't want a new Alex Kidd, but hopefully, like I say, they add more to this to make it a more refined game, and it looks like they have. So fingers crossed. I've got this one on pre-order. Obviously, it's a remaster of a classic Sega game. So yeah, exciting stuff. And so boring old fart. Gunstar Heroes, yeah, mate. New Gunstar Heroes, yes. Please.
Oh, just do me a treasure collection. And we've already had Guardian Heroes remastered on the Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic. More of that, please. Absolutely. I want Guardian Heroes. I want Dynamite Heady. I want, give me Gunstar Heroes. Give me the future Gunstar Heroes. Get me future Guardian Heroes. All in one treasure box, you can call it. Oh. Tell you what, I've just made your retro collection for you.
You have. Well, they kind of done it with the PlayStation 2 Sega Ages release of. It's quite an expensive one to get now. The Sega Ages I think it was actually called Treasure Box, maybe even, but it had Gunstar Heroes, Alien Storm, and prototype versions of the ROMs on there as well. So it was a really nice collection, but obviously you don't have the follow-up to Gunstar Heroes for the Game Boy Advance, I believe it was. I can't remember the name of the title. I should do because I did the complete history. But yes, there you go. Good games. And let's just hope they add more to get at the original Alex Kidd, because this does look good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Adam from YouTube, Echo the Dolphin 99.
It's like where you just jump up into the sky, get sucked up by the vortex, and it's whoever can get past the horror of that sound is the winner. Yeah.
It's such a weird game. It's so weird. Which I think is actually us finalising on this, isn't there? There's one more little thing that we're going to talk about, and I'll leave this one over to you, Grizzly, because honestly I haven't researched it too much. So
yeah. So one thing we're going to try. Of course, we've had a few people jumping in every now and then into the chat. So this is new this week. We wanted to do an opinion topic every week, and after we do the initial discussion, I'd like to invite everyone who's in the Slopecast chat as an all-in discussion, so we can just have a good chat about what's going on. So the topic this week is about Atari. So Atari have been a bit of an interesting company recently, to say the least.
They have.
So we've had the Atari VCS, which I don't know if it's still sat behind you, Dan, is it?
It's up the top here. Yeah, I've got my Atari. Well, it's not mine. I've been lent it. Atari VCS.
Ah, yes, the dusty corner. That's where it belongs, I think. But predominantly, Atari isn't just a video game company anymore. They are well and truly part of the blockchain.
They are.
So they've severed the company into two halves. You have the blockchain side, which is all about NFTs, which are the new buzzworthy term on anything these days, and cryptocurrency. So a little while ago, Atari released something called the Atari token, which is a form of cryptocurrency, which was to be used on gambling websites. Yeah, I know. And then you've also got
Atari Casino.
Yeah, the Atari Casino, and you can play retro games using those as credits, which is kind of a neat idea until you realise that this is just one big money laundering scheme, as far as I'm concerned.
It's so weird.
And then you've got, of course, Atari are looking to do PC and console games again, but let's just face it, the last time they tried that, it didn't particularly end up well, and they just became a bit of a poor publishing outfit. So the main thing is just to talk about what the hell is going on at Atari. So, any thoughts, Dan?
It's a shell of a company. It really is. I always said, like, I think it was the second video I ever made, potentially, with the whole, I made like a Sega versus Nintendo video, where basically I wanted Sega to go down a route of continuing to make their big games, you know, their Total War games and stuff like this, but I wanted them to start making more smaller budget classic games, and they've in recent years started to do that. You got your Mania, Streets of Rage 4. You know, these aren't full price games. These are making the best possible games of their old titles for a new generation. That's what I'd want to see from Atari if they went down that route. And I know they've got a lot of IPs under their belt. There's no reason why they can't do what looks like, and the reason why I'm buying the Intellivision Amico, it seems to be like these sort of HD remasters for games that are probably only going to be about £10-15, because, you know, like something like Pac-Man. Pac-Man's a basic, very, very basic game. So when you want a remaster, you don't really want to have to spend too much on a very basic concept. So I'd want them to do more like that. And I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do that. So many incredible indie studios out there would bite their own face off to be able to get hold of these incredible IPs that Atari have at their disposal. But unfortunately, the big wigs aren't going to see that. They're going to look at the fact of like, oh, let's try and do another driver game, which will definitely do horrendously, you know, and that's the route they're going to go down, unfortunately. If they did try that, they'd try and make AAA games that are Balan Wonderland quality, probably. Wonderworld, probably. But, yeah, right now, it's such a small part. I think they need it there for the image, but it's such a small part of what Atari are now. So many more conversations are being had daily, guaranteed, about crypto than let's revamp Yar's Revenge.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that bothers me about Atari's approach to anything is that they seem to be looking at money making schemes without looking at ways in which they can earn that money. Yeah. And they're resting on their laurels in terms of the nostalgic thing. I mean, they've only got a limited scope for nostalgia. They got the Atari 2600, the 5200, 7800, and then pretty much that's it. You know, everything else is post crash, and technically it doesn't belong to them. So they don't really have much in the way of games to sell us. But I will say they do have an eye for the next big thing, and this whole idea of the non-fungible token, the NFT, is quite it's quite smart. And we often talk about physical games and digital game ownership on just whenever we do these talks, and I feel like NFTs are a bridge to the right idea of being able to own digital content. And really all developers need to do is essentially make their games DRM free to make it NFT. So if they can find a way to make it so that you actually own your digital games, you can then sell them on, very much like Kings of Leon releasing their latest album as an NFT, or Ubisoft
what
are
a
actually.
crazy world we live in with all this stuff. It's so strange.
It's just amazing. Like a week after we've heard about it, suddenly everyone's doing it,
Yeah.
and that's just proves how good an idea it is. And I feel like, yeah, it's a snark mark in the chat is saying NFTs are a fancy certificate of authenticity, but what I can see people are running to them for one reason is because digital content now has an intrinsic value, as opposed to being a license in which can be revoked at any time. That's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like having a physical disc, but it's stored on your computer hard drive. That's the right step forward, I think. And if everything can be put in essentially a wallet of everything you own, suddenly you have one of the most easily accessible collections ever. Now, for me, will that ever replace physical games? No, I like the tangibility of everything. But I do believe it's the right step to take. And then it adds more value to things like Game Pass, where you're renting content. It gives it that point of difference. It makes it clear to the user that they're not owning that content. Whereas you ask anybody who says, "Oh yeah, I've bought 50 games on my PS4. I own this game. I own this game." No, you don't. It's all digital content. You don't own any of the content you've just purchased. You're renting it long term.
Absolutely.
This is different. This is I can see where Atari are going with it. The problem is, I'm not going to pay them another $10 or $20 to play Asteroids again.
Yeah. Absolutely. And they're worthless anyway. They're giving away so many collection pieces now. It's unreal. Like more than probably most companies that I can think of. Even like Nintendo and their original Mario. Like I have little collections with Yars and Golf, Tank, so many times now. So many times. Yeah, it's they're such a shell of a company of what they used to be. Like, I am incredibly interested to see what they do. Like, just out of curiosity, like with this hotel stuff and the, like you say, the crypto, the casino. I tried to buy myself some Atari tokens recently, just for the sake of owning one. I was going to give it away as a competition, but no, it's not that easy to do, actually. But yes, the mics are open here in the Discord for Patreon and YouTube members. I know Mike Towns was interested in having another chat. I think Sir Clown Dad popped in as well at one point. Guys, yeah, feel free to take the floor. I don't know if you've got any opinions on Atari of the 2020s.
I was like, one of the things I find funny is like how it's right when you said like they're a shadow of what they formerly were, but how things are kind of the same. Because I way back when I used to mine a bit of Bitcoin, and I mined Dogecoin back when that first came out. And one of the big things people brought up was how environmentally unfriendly it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things people are bringing up with these newer NFTs. And it reminds me of when they decided just to dump a bunch of crap in the desert. Like, they seem just to hate the environment.
Yeah. Every transaction on one of the NFTs like is seriously bad for the environment, isn't it? I've read that. Yeah. Atari.
I agree with Grizz too. I'm not going to pay them to pay like Yard's Revenge or Asteroids or something like that. Like, I play those for maybe 5-6 minutes every 2 years, and that's about enough. As classic as they are, it's just nah.
Yeah, I mean, if all it's going to be is like an asteroid ship shaped trophy that comes out of one of their casino things, consider me uninterested. But that's exactly what I could feel it could be. They could say, "Oh, this is like some sort of trophy. There's only one of them in the world, so it's up to everyone else to decide what this is worth and whether you can sell it on and what have you." And I don't know, that just seems like fool's gold to me. I don't think Atari's the right company to take it forward.
No.
They haven't done anything recently of that kind of worth. But again, it's an alright idea, isn't it?
It like reminds me of the other day I saw, I think it was Nike. They're doing NFT shoes, but they're not actual shoes. They're like renders of crazy out there kind of Homer Simpson like type car shoes. And I could imagine Atari like selling, say, renders of a cart or something like that.
Yeah, it's a license to print money, isn't it?
Thanks for listening to Slopescast, the retro gaming news show recorded live on Twitch on the 13th of April 2021. If you want to listen in live, then the next recorded episode will be on the 27th of April 2021 over on twitch.tv/Slopes Game Room at 9 PM UK time and 1 PM Pacific Standard Time. As stated, if you would like the chance to be on a future episode, then please do consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. And finally, if you have any news stories for me, then feel free to drop them in the dedicated room on Discord at discord.gg/Slopes Game Room. And until next time, guys, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time.